Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone Winter Championship 2019 starts today, and in that tournament 16 top Hearthstone players will face off against each other. I went through all the decks and tried to find out what are the top 5 most interesting decks that are being played in this tournament. Typically in a championship tournament it can be a little bit difficult to find interesting decks because there are of course lots of very solid, very powerful, very typical meta decks that are being played. After all, there's a lot of money on the line, people want to win, and meta decks are meta decks because they win games. But I was able to find 5 interesting decks from the list. Some of them are really quite off meta, whereas others are just decked in an interesting way. So in this video I'm going to take a look at SNJing's Zoolock, Viper's Secret Odd Mage, Viper's Murloc Paladin, Viper's Midrange Hunter. Yeah, there's a lot of Viper's decks around here, but what can you do? And Roger's Even Warlock. SNJing's Zoolock is probably the most off-meta deck that is being brought to this tournament. It is a variant of the Grim Rally Zoolock, so it's not a heal Zoo. But it's not your traditional Grim Rally deck either. There's like no eggs, there's a Prince Skeleset instead, and the deck even runs Explodinators. Because then you can play Explodinator, if the opponent doesn't remove the bombs, you might even buff them with Fungal Mancer. There's double Void Rippers, so if the bombs are there and you need a little bit of extra damage, you can also Void Ripper them to kill the bombs and hit face with those. It's just a very, very different take of Zoo than what we have come to see. Because this is not healed Zoo, but it's also very different from the usual Grim Rally Zoo list, so definitely something worth checking out. Another interesting list is Viper's Secret Odd Mage. This Secret Odd Mage list is running Subject 9 so that it can include more secrets. Okay, this is not Viper's invention. At least to my knowledge, Turner was the first mainstream player who popularized using Subject 9 in Secret Odd Mage. It's still not that popular of an approach, but it's on the rise. What makes Viper's approach interesting is that he has also chosen to include good old Archmage and Tonidas into the build. So this is a build that's really made to punish combo decks. It has a lot of power, it's a lot of longevity, it can keep going and keep dealing damage for a long time. There might not be anything special when it comes to Viper's Murloc Paladin. I mean, this is Murloc Paladin as we have come to know it. It's the full-on bunch of Murlocs, knife jugglers, double divine favor, so it's never going to run out of juice against these control and combo decks. All the goodies are there: Call to Arms, Leroy, Sunkeeper, Tarim. It's Murloc Paladin as we all remember it. But given how few Murloc Paladins you run into nowadays on ladder, it's still something that isn't seen that much now. And to have this at the highest level of competition is truly something. Can there be something less interesting than a Midrange Hunter in the current meta, where there's a lot of Midrange Hunters? Well, I do like Viper's take on this. This is a bit of a different take on Midrange Hunter, or at least it's tuned to be fast and push and be extremely relentless. There's no 7 high mains here, even though 7 high main, common knowledge says the 7 high main is a good card. Instead, there's 2 copies of Life Drinkers, 2 copies of Dire Frenzies, there's a Deadly Shot, there are no Hunter's Marks, and there's no Candle Shots, but there's 2 Headhunter's Hatchets. So this version of Midrange Hunter is a little bit different than the usual Midrange Hunter you run into on ladder. It just tries to kill the opponent fairly quickly. There are a lot of even Warlocks in the tournament, and Roger's list is something that really caught my eye, because there are a couple of really interesting tech cards in this deck. Even Warlock, you typically take it in 2 areas. There's the 2 drops that you can choose a little bit, and then there's the 6 drops. Everything else is pretty much set. And in this build, there are 2 copies of Nerubian Unraveler as the 6-mana tech cards. So really trying to punish those combo decks, punish those priests. You want to Psychic Scream my board? No way, you need to wait a couple of extra turns because I have a Nerubian Unraveler. Or if there are 2 on the board, then Psychic Scream becomes completely unplayable. That's a very attractive notion. And not only that, but there are quite a few even Warlocks in the tournament, and Roger has teched against other even Warlocks by including a stubborn gastropod in this list. So a more interesting even Warlock list than your average even Warlock list with really on-point deck choices. Those were the top 5 most interesting decks from the Hearthstone Winter Championship 2019. Well, it is the highest level of competition players want to win. It's very unlikely that anyone would bring something completely new. And SNJing's Warlock is the closest thing to something really new that we see here. But all of these 5 builds are a little bit different than something that you run into ladder every day. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.